Jeremy Boring, former CEO of Daily Wire, goes on the offense against my husband. That's odd. People don't normally do that. Encouraging reporters to look into Laura Loomer's claims. Did Candace lie to DHS? He's kind of putting down that sort of energy. I guess you can just toss another coin in the I told you so jar. Daily Wire operates like a deranged cult, and they will never stop trying to destroy my life.
So Candace Owens just exposed Jeremy Boring's campaign to destroy her family through coordinated legal warfare, and it reveals how media power brokers weaponize the system for personal vendettas. We're seeing preservation orders, citizenship threats, and suspicious lawsuit strategies that tell a darker story. Let's break this down.
Okay, it wasn't implied. They weren't like, hey, maybe it was this guy killed Charlie Kirk directly. Forget a meeting at Fort Huachuca. It was, this is our guy, Brian Harpole. He pulled the trigger or pulled something. And yet mysteriously, I've been sort of watching and paying attention, and those people are not being sued for defamation. People that were making videos claiming that he did that, right? That's a bit weird. That's a bit weird. Wouldn't you at first sue the person that's just so clear cut saying that you murdered someone?
This exposes the entire lawsuit as selective prosecution. When someone directly accuses you of murder with specific details, that's textbook defamation with clear damages. But questioning whether someone attended a meeting, that's barely actionable. The legal strategy here reveals the real motive isn't justice.
Brian Judas Harpole was wearing the controls under his clothes. I am 1,000,000,000% certain. Well, that might be defamation. Next one. There was never a gun. It was a weapon called a shape charge. Here is who actually detonated the charge under Charlie's t-shirt. His name is Brian Harpole from Dallas, Texas. Okay, third time. Blake Bednarz writes, a gun was never fired and a bullet did not hit his neck. The pendant-shaped charge was detonated by Brian Harpole. This is why the necklace was such a central focus. Right after the incident, Erica and Frank had to establish its existence. That is not the necklace that Charlie Kirk was wearing. Here's another one. What did Brian Harpole have hidden on his person? Two things. One, the item in his front right pants pocket is what caused the audio interference, and the item under his shirt below his left armpit is what he squeezed discreetly at the moment that CK was hit. Holy smokes, this is it.
These aren't vague implications. These are explicit murder accusations with detailed methodology. Any competent defamation lawyer would prioritize these clear-cut cases first. The fact they're ignoring slam-dunk defamation while pursuing questionable claims against her proves this isn't about legal merit.
And I learned that Blake Bednarz had been served by Dillon Law Group, but not with a lawsuit, but with a simple preservation order, because they think he might have something that might help to prosecute me in a defamation suit. What? This is... Guys, we are living in upside down land, okay? This is beyond the realm of sanity, okay? Beyond the realm of sanity here. They know who he is. They're listing him in a lawsuit. They know what he has said, or putting him, demonstrating what he has said, and blaming me. And they're just, it's right there. And then, nope. We're suing Candace. Hey, Blake, could you help us? We feel like she talked about this Fort Huachuca meeting, and we're trying to get her. So what actually is happening here? And who even is Douglas Bednarz?
This is legally insane. You can't use someone who made more severe accusations as a witness against someone who made lesser ones. It's like having a bank robber testify against someone for jaywalking. The preservation order strategy exposes this as coordinated retaliation, not legitimate defamation defense.
Dude, he didn't see Erica and Brian Harpole. He's just a con artist. My source at Turning Point USA literally said they have all the documents and proof both Brian and Erica weren't there, and they're purposefully giving Candace rope to hang herself with this while they build a massive defamation lawsuit. Huh?
That message proves premeditation. This wasn't reactive defamation defense. It was a calculated trap designed to manufacture legal grounds. When sources at Turning Point admit they're deliberately letting someone hang themselves while building a lawsuit, that's conspiracy to abuse legal process.
And he said, just a little too quickly. He read the message, And then Andrew said, please don't share publicly, but he had read that out loud. And it was an alibi regarding Fort Huachuca, asserting that the story was insane and that Erica was at home with her children. It was that accidental slip that caused the internet to explode. Because why would Andrew and Erica need to be coordinating a PR message secretly with a relatively unknown YouTuber when they were both in communication with me at that time? Erica and I had just sat down on December 15th. This felt oddly backhanded to me. Also, during our sit down, Erica told me that she was no longer using Andrew as PR because he kept going rogue.
The contradiction is devastating. If Colvett was going rogue, why was he secretly coordinating alibis with YouTubers? That accidental leak exposed a parallel PR operation running alongside direct communications. This proves the public narrative was manufactured while private coordination continued.
You'll recall he got forced out of the company, generally speaking, because he's a deranged psycho. That's speaking generally. Most people who have ever worked with him would have that same conclusion. Never going to stop trying to make it in Hollywood. Certainly no executive by any stretch of an imagination. Anyway, Jeremy Boring, I had indicated to you guys, was the number one person behind effectively stalking me when I left the Daily Wire. There's no other way to say it. It was literal stalking, sending interns on secret trips onto planes to follow me to my public events. This is after you fired me. This stuff is unheard of. Unheard of. And that's not even beginning to get into what happened beyond that. Stalking every single like that I made on Instagram, on Twitter, reading that as disparaging, grounds to sue. I mean, really strange stuff that if you did this as someone's ex-boyfriend, you would end up in prison.
Under most stalking statutes, sending employees to follow someone to events after termination would qualify as criminal harassment. When corporate resources are used for personal vendettas like this, it crosses from employment dispute into potential criminal territory. The legal system is being weaponized here.
Just to break this down, okay? Just to break down what he is asserting. He's asserting that this happened while I was working at the Daily Wire, and someone came to him and wanted a comment or a statement, but they never came to me. They never came to George, and he never told us. Okay? That's what he starts with. Absolutely untrue and a lie and completely made up. There was never an incident that happened while I was at the Daily Wire. I was never contacted. The media about me, like enemy number one, you think they just sat on that? Like, Jeremy, do you want to comment on this? We're not going to reach out to Candace, but would you like to comment on this? He's making it up. Foremost, I just want to say kudos to me for telling you guys that these were the psychos behind the push. Okay. It was beyond obvious. It had all the markings, like I said, of Daily Wire. So what he is doing is that first part is more relevant. He's angry that I told the truth about his spending habit that put the Daily Wire in the financial hole.
Basic journalism would contact the subject first, not executives. Media outlets don't call CEOs for comment on employees without reaching out to the employee directly. Boring's story fails the most elementary credibility test. No reporter operates this way, making his timeline completely fabricated.
We were the ones who were told through our PR team that they were trying to get the New York Post to publish it. That the Daily Wire had found a report and they were trying to push the New York Post to publish it. I want to be clear, Charlie was alive and well during this time, and actually was one of the people that I was speaking to about how insane and deranged their attacks had become. After looking into that report that he's referring to, the New York Post declined to publish. They then tried to go to lower rung publications. I believe the Daily Beast might have been one of them. I'll have to fact check that. And they too declined to publish it because they couldn't confirm it. So they were getting a little desperate. We got phone calls during both of these attempts. We were also, this is very relevant, we were locked in a court battle at this time with them as they were trying to sue us into bankruptcy, literally. So if you think that they were fighting us in court, trying to bankrupt us before we could even begin our new podcast, and yet simultaneously he was being a good guy and protecting us because family's supposed to stay off limits, you are out of your mind.
Multiple major outlets rejected the story because they couldn't verify it. When the New York Post and Daily Beast won't publish, that tells you everything about the evidence quality. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk himself was discussing how deranged these attacks were. Timeline doesn't support Boring's narrative.
He says reporters should look into this. Where did this go? Reporters should try to find out what happened here. The ultimate goal is he wants George's citizenship to be revoked. That is what he is trying to achieve. He wants George's citizenship to be revoked. He wants someone to do the legwork to figure out if there could plausibly be a scenario where we paid somebody off and lied to the Department of Homeland Security. That is where the Daily Wire is at. This is how desperate they are. They have looked into every layer of my life from birth to childhood. They looked into my family, and they can't uncover anything scandalous enough to hurt me. So they are hoping, and I want to be clear, wrongly, of course, that there is now a Hail Mary chance that George and I broke federal law by hiding and willfully lying to the Department of Homeland Security about a DUI conviction.
Citizenship revocation destroys families and livelihoods permanently. This isn't media criticism. It's using federal immigration enforcement as a weapon of personal destruction. When corporate executives target spouses' citizenship over workplace disputes, we've entered dangerous authoritarian territory that should terrify everyone.
That he's doing something that's actually unusual. Yeah, no, we don't go after family members, but I have to do this for Erica because Candace is going after family members. That's stupid, obviously, because Erica is a public figure and a celebrity. She is not a at-home grieving widow with her kids. Stop pretending like she is. And also stop pretending like the last 3 years of my life has not been about you and your demented stalker pursuits to ruin me and to ruin my family. Shane Cashman said it best on X when he wrote this. He wrote, Jeremy Boring is Ted Bundy doing a Mr. Rogers impression. The entire team, my team, we all worked for Daily Wire. We laughed like this is the most accurate description. Anybody who has been around Jeremy Boring, that is the most accurate description. You can see it in his demeanor. Well, I'm only doing this because of that. Reporters, is journalism still happening? Spot on. He is Ted Bundy doing a Mr. Rogers impression.
The Ted Bundy comparison is apt. Charming public persona masking destructive private behavior. Using moral rhetoric about protecting families while systematically trying to destroy someone's family through citizenship attacks is textbook manipulation. The contradiction couldn't be more stark or calculated.
Last May, he was arrested. It's actually too disturbing to read in detail, but suffice it to say that it involves this camera operator distributing, he's been accused, I should say, because it's still going through the courts, he's been accused of distributing pornography of prepubescent kids in the process of soliciting other minors. And again, I'm going to say allegedly because he has not been convicted yet, but the case is making its way through the courts. And perhaps more crucially, you should know that this now former employee, Zachary Lewis, happens to have worked in the Daily Wire kids department, where they filmed kids shows with kids. Now, if there are any responsible journalists left, they should probably reach out to Jeremy Boring, who was at the helm of the Daily Wire kids department, Bentke, while this was all going on, and asked, did he know anything about Zach? Were there any complaints about Zach? Over the span of the years that he was working there, were there any complaints, any signs? Were the parents of the children that Zach Lewis was presumably filming for Bentke Kids notified about this pending case, about the offenses that were, the charges that were brought against him?
A camera operator in the children's department facing child exploitation charges, while the CEO claims moral authority, is peak hypocrisy. The fact that Lewis works specifically with kids makes this exponentially worse for any company positioning itself as a family-friendly conservative brand.
My offense was that I said Christ is king. Is it deemed a worse internal offense to say Christ is king and to tweet out genocide is always wrong? That's worse than what Zach Lewis did? And like I said, were the parents informed? What about the other talent at the Daily Wire? Were they aware of this? Because I'm hearing nobody knew about this. I got a public hanging, but Zach Lewis just gets to go? That's interesting. Again, that's just if there are any responsible journalists left, because that seems to be what he's concerned with. Or if, guys, right there, I think that you guys should furnish the answer to those questions. Again, I also want to be clear that we are only presenting this out of a sense of moral duty.
The contrast is damning. Public execution for saying Christ is king versus quiet dismissal for alleged child exploitation charges. That priority system reveals everything about institutional values. When moral rhetoric doesn't match moral actions, the credibility gap becomes impossible to bridge.
Pompous and so arrogant. More comments from today's episode. Sorry, I was not prepared to scroll down here. Sarah writes first, who else remembers when Candace reveal that Andrew Colbert was the person who betrayed Charlie in her dream. I sure do. That is actually really interesting, especially in the retrospect. It definitely is very, very interesting about Andrew. So much more seems to be coming out. GB writes, Candace, I need complicit in this nonsense merch. we do have some new merch coming for you guys. It's going to be some great merch, actually. Attack Wretch writes, best quote for the Fed slop by far, quote, take it with a grain of crack cocaine. Whatever we're talking about, Laura. Just take whatever she says with a grain of crack cocaine and you'll be fine. Alaska Dog Lady writes, I got nothing. This is all insane but expected. Another day in the spiritual war and demon's gonna demon. Catholic gang, my spiritual sister in Christ. We're in it. We are in the thick of it. But I have to say, with the way that they're thrashing, the desperation, the anger, the nonstop obsession, it feels like we're winning.
The audience engagement shows people are connecting dots and seeing patterns that validate these allegations. When your supporters are analyzing details and finding consistency in your narrative, while opponents resort to increasingly desperate attacks, it suggests truth is emerging despite institutional resistance.